Hello lovely people, I want to introduce you to an online resource before we actually go outside and do some external field work in the field. And the one that I've found and chosen is this organisation called Science and Plants for Schools, or SAPS. And what I want you to do first of all is to log on to this website. And once you get on that website, you're going to search for Ecology Practical 2, which is basically doing what's known as a transect of the distribution of species across a footpath, which is a trampled area in the middle of a nature reserve. Now, obviously, if you're studying AS, you'll need to probably look up what a transect is and remind yourself how to use quadrats, although the practical goes through that. A2, again, you might want to go back and look at these things and remind yourself from last year. Now, you'll want to download a couple of things from this website. They are the ID sheet, which shows you the plants. This is a plant sampling exercise, and a blank results sheet, which is an Excel file. You'll need to save this so that you can save your results in it. And what I want you to do once you're looking at the online practical is to undertake a quadrat survey of species richness, which is essentially the number of species, for 4 points on the transect, and enter that result into the sheet, save it with your name on it, and email your data to me. So let's have a look at what we need to see. Look at that, and if I go on to here, lovely. So this is the Science and Plants for Schools website. When you get on there, SAPS, you need to search for Ecology Practicals. Mine comes up straight away. And the one that we're looking for is Ecology Practical 2. And you might think, why are we starting with 2 rather than 1? Well, we are going to do Ecology Practical 1, but actually it's been updated recently to Ecology Practical 3, and I'll do another film to tell you about what we do with that one. Now on here, you'll see that what you need to download is the ID sheet, which is right at the top. It's a PDF file. I've already downloaded mine, and I've made it smaller so that I can actually use it within the practical, and it's got lots of very clear pictures of the types of plant that you're going to identify. The other thing that you're going to download is the blank results sheet, which is the top Excel spreadsheet. You don't need to consider any of these other things at all. So just this one here, I've already downloaded mine, and here it is, and I'll go through that in a moment with you. AS, I really strongly advise that you read through the notes that go with the practical to familiarise you with it. A2, you'll probably want to skim through this as well. It goes through the resources, site chosen, which is a chalk grassland, which is very high biodiversity type of grassland, but it's got a path in this nature reserve running across the middle of it, which of course will be trampled. There's a suggestions for carrying out the exercise, which is largely aimed at me, but have a little read through it. But what we're doing is this bit here, measuring the species richness, which is essentially the number of species. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to count the species of plants in each of those quadrats, and I'll show you what we mean by that. If you're unfamiliar with quadrats, in particular AS group, there's some questions here which you can have a look at, and we'll tell you more. And obviously refer to your books. You can rewind this and go back and use it many times. That's why I've made it into a screencast for you. So, where is this transect, you ask yourselves? Well, here it is. You just click on this particular link, and what you'll get is a lovely screen, which is actually interactive, and you can see now that this is a grassland area with lovely long grass, lots of species in here, and they've mown it short here so that people can walk through it. You've got some woodland to either side of it as well. And what they've done across the path and into the grassland is they've laid down a line transect going all the way across. And there are sampling points to put your quadrat at 8 points. I only want you to do 4 of these, so you'll need to choose those. Now you might want to be random about this and roll a dice if you've got an 8-sided dice, or perhaps take numbers out of a hat and do those 4 that you choose. Or you could be treating it as a belt transect and just do a continuous belt transect and doing the ones in line, so 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, 6, 7, 8, or you can do every other one along the line. I don't really mind which one you do, as long as I've got lots of data from different people. Well, how do you get onto the quadrats? What you need to do, guys, is you just need to click on the number that you want. So I've already clicked on number 3, so I shall show you what you get. It's not a square quadrat, it's actually a rectangular one, but there's lots of squares within it. The really beautiful thing about this is this lovely plantain that you've got here. You can see some clover, there's lots of grass. We're not counting the grass, we are actually counting just the broadleaf plants. But if you click on any one of these squares, and I clicked on B9, which is this one here with some plantain in it, you get a close-up. I'm sorry if this is off the edge of the screen here, but you can see really clearly these plantains here, and you're able then to identify them. There's also some couch grass coming in here, and of course there's some bare soil as well, because this is in the trampled area. Right, what you then need to do is simply record. So if you're in this particular one, which is quadrat 3, you write it down on a scrap piece of paper, the number of plants in this quadrat. That's all you need to do. And what you then need to do is put the number of each one. So we were looking at quadrat position 3, and we saw some plantains. You'll need to make sure that you know which is greater or ribwork plantain, and then you record those in your quadrat data. Okay. Once you've done that, it will sum it up here. It says number of species, which is for AS. You'll need to learn this. This is also a measure of species richness. Okay, that's really it. I've just mentioned the plantains again. I keep going on about them. There we are. They're an interesting species, and there's information on the website. If I go back to here, you'll see that it talks a lot about the plantains, and what we will do afterwards is we will actually have a look at them in detail, because they're closely related species, greater plantain and ribwork plantain. You can see over here in the download section, there are actually some bigger pictures of each of these, and what they show, what's different, is in fact that greater plantain, which is the larger of the two, is more tolerant to being trampled on. So you might want to make a prediction about where you would find more of that than the ribwork plantain, and we'll see if that bears out. We're going to play around with this data when you've sent me it, so I would like a full set of data from you, and good luck. And if you've got any questions, you know where to get me. Just email me and come and see me. Okay, thank you. Bye.